The Checkpoint is presented by GM Pharma, the first international multinational pharmaceutical company in Georgia. GM Pharma, to serve those who need it most.
Wine exports increased despite instability in export markets in January-September. USD 173 million worth of wine was exported from Georgia, 3.9% more compared to the last year. In total, 65.2 million liters of wine were exported. The growth in value made up 17%. Despite diversification efforts, Russia remains an irreplaceable market. 63% of Georgian wine exports account for Russia. Exports to this market were up by 15% in 2022. In September, 222,000 people entered Georgia from Russia, according to the updated statistics published on the website of the Ministry of Internal Affairs. The increase amounts to 511% compared to September 2021. 36,000 people entered through the Kazbeki border checkpoint in the same period last year. According to statistics, 39,000 vehicles entered the Russian-Georgian border through the Kazbeki border checkpoint and 44,000 cars left. As for the pre-pandemic period, according to the Ministry of Internal Affairs, in September 2019, 163,000 people entered Georgia from Russia. In the past, Georgia used to buy most of its oil from Romania and Bulgaria, but in 2022, the country's economy switched to Russian fuel. According to the report published on Wednesday by Geostat, during the last month, the country purchased oil worth 149 million USD, of which USD 94 million or 63% accounted for Russia. For the comparison, it should be noted that at the beginning of the year, Russia's share in oil imports was 16%. During the entire year of 2022, Georgia purchased fuel worth USD 431 million from Russia, which was 348% more than the previous year. This is The Checkpoints. I'm Elena Panjilashvili, author and the host of the show, and the Checkpoints team is ready to give you the latest news and analysis about business and economics. The European Union and the World Bank, in partnership with the National Accounting, Reporting and Auditing Reform Support Fund, RSF, have announced the opening of the 2022 Annual Report and Transparency Award, BARTA. The aim of this competition is to increase the quality of reporting and transparency of Georgian companies. Given European and global developments, in particular the steps taken towards the introduction of sustainability reporting, this award has an even more important role to play. BARTA was established in 2019 as part of a joint project of financial engagement and accountability between the EU and the World Bank, after the European Union launched a fundamental review of corporate financial statements. In April 2021, the European Commission initiated the Corporate Sustainability Reporting Directive in support of the EU's transition to a sustainable economy. As a result, sustainability reporting in the EU will assume equal importance to financial reporting. Meanwhile, we can expect the same globally as the IFRS Foundation looks to set up to develop international sustainability reporting standards. This year, BARTA is open to all companies that are public interest entities, PIEs, including companies in the A and B listing categories, banks, insurance companies, and so forth. All companies listed on the exchange will automatically participate in the evaluation if they satisfy eligibility criteria, namely an unqualified audit opinion and timely submission of all mandatory reporting applicable to the company's category. Other companies classified as PIEs, including commercial firms, will need to apply. The deadline for companies to submit is October 31, 2022. As part of the BARTA's gradual evolution to reflect the emergency of sustainability reporting, the 2022 competition will have 2 awards for sustainability reporting. Reports must be based on a generally recognized framework such as the Global Reporting Initiative and be included within the annual report. More in Georgi Sakadze's interview with Paul Thompson.
Paul, thank you for your time so much, for this prompt reply, and for everything what you are doing, especially for the reform and for BARTA as well. And I really want to share with our viewers and followers where the idea of BARTA and when and how it was created, I mean, from the very beginning. I wonder that we've been talking a lot, me and you, about BARTA, but we've never discussed publicly where this idea and how this idea was created. So go ahead, the floor is yours, please.
Sure, thank you. Well, the BARTA was actually founded in 2019, and it was founded within the framework of the European Union World Bank joint project on financial inclusion and accountability. And the vision that we had back then was to try to motivate Georgian companies to be more transparent, to tell more about what they're doing, and also to improve the quality of what they were disclosing in their annual report. So we created BARTA, the Best Annual Report Transparency Award, some 3 years ago. What we were most interested in, though, was not the financial part of the annual report, which all of your listeners will be familiar with, the financial statements, the profit and loss account, the balance sheet, the notes, etc. We were more interested to see the non-financial information that was being disclosed, in particular what in common currency now we refer to as ESG reporting, environment, social governance reporting, and what more recently has been coined sustainability reporting. So this was the information that we were most interested in looking at, examining, and giving kudos to those companies that were showing high quality reporting of sustainability reporting. And so that
you
was
mentioned about you mentioned about various stakeholders, including EU, World Bank, yourself. I mean, a lot. I mean, locals as well. I'm talking about Georgian authorities and other private stakeholders here as well. But tell me, the idea of BARTA, is it like a truly Georgian idea? I mean, like BARTA is a Georgia origin product, I mean, based on the knowledge and experience you guys have, or it's copy-pasted from somewhere else, like for the same purposes you mentioned from the very beginning?
What we did with BARTA is we looked around the rest of the world to see what we thought was global best practice, and we created BARTA. And BARTA, I'd like to think, is a fusion of the best aspects of similar initiatives from around the world. BARTA is not a cut and paste. If anything, I would like to think that BARTA is pretty much ahead of the game, is very much cutting edge reporting initiative.
Can we talk about the future of BARTA? Like while we are doing it already, correct me if I'm wrong, the fourth time, it's already the fourth season of BARTA happening this year. It might be already thoughtful to seeing the distribution of the same format worldwide, where any kind of talks, source, or debates in these regards within your partner, stakeholders, or I don't know, institutions?
Well, ever since it was first introduced, we've sought to continually improve the initiative to reflect emerging best practice. What we see around the world today is the rapid emergence of sustainability reporting. In the European Union, for example, sustainability reporting in the coming few years will be widespread because regulation will require it of 50,000 large and listed companies. And that sustainability reporting will assume equal prominence to that of financial reporting in many parts of the world. So what we wanted to do with the Barter is to be visionary and forward thinking and to build in sustainability reporting into our model. And that effectively is what we're doing. In terms of those that are, what we do is we automatically score all Georgian companies that are admitted to trading. And we also encourage what we call self-nomination, other companies that are not admitted to trading, that want to participate and want to put forward their annual report for examination by our jury.
Paul, can we suggest additional arguments? Well, the list of the participants, the list is definitely growing. I mean, the enthusiasm is growing in Georgia as well, and it definitely we can see it. But at the same time, I'm more than sure that from the very beginning, first of all, yourself and the other partners, you answered the question, why Barter? And if today we can send the same message to the local entrepreneurs, why they should participate in Barter 2022?
For the very simple reason that the investing public in Georgia deserves to see much more information and detail about the activities of your business than traditionally. The investing public in Georgia deserves to see, read, and understand how your business is impacting the local environment, how your business is impacting local society, and how well governed your business is. And it's these things that we are evaluating as a part of the Barter Award. And in effect, what we're doing is we're incentivizing those that are leading the way, that are providing the best disclosure, by giving them an award, or at least giving them some notoriety, if you like, for having self-nominated, putting themselves forward for evaluation. So we really do feel that it's something that the local business community, the local the investors in Georgia and further afield would really like to see more of, to get a much deeper, better understanding of the businesses in which they're investing their money, or working for, or buying products from.
The only thing what I can add to this particular question, well, let me say so, to your answer, is that on behalf of Forbes Georgia team, my appreciations and gratitude to you personally and team because of Barter and because of the reform held in Georgia. And I will tell you why. If not this reform, Forbes would never, ever do any kind of rankings in Georgia based on the audit figures, and this audit reform was truly the fantastic basement for us to develop further as Forbes is developed in other countries.
That's fantastic to hear. And you know, the team, the jury, everybody that is involved and behind this project, we really have designs on trying to improve the Georgian economy and society. And this is just one small way in which we can help improve things in Georgia. You know, Georgi, I was never been to Georgia until 2019, and I got to visit the country since then on a number of occasions gotten very attached to the place and found that there is a rich seam of talent, in particular young talent, which I think will make Georgia a great country in the future.
Thank you for your time, for your input, for your participation, for everything you're doing. And I do hope to see you after this terrible unprecedented 3 years back to Georgia. So see you soon, Paul, and thank you so much for the interview.
You're welcome. Thanks so much.
As an executive editor of Forbes Georgia, I fully agree with Giorgi Sakadze that the signature of our publication, Forbes Georgia, is our original rankings, which have become easier to pull together after the reform and the increased transparency of the private sector. More so, I think there's a lot the public sector could learn from this reform to increase its accountability as well. And now I think it's only logical to review how the business in Georgia has been doing this week. Our reporter, Natia Taktakishvili, has pulled together this week's Business Wire.
Aquageo, the producer of mineral and freshwater snow and Kobe on the Georgian market, was able to restore the export market of Ukraine. The company updated contracts with several partners in Ukraine. Zurab Kozalishvili, CEO at Aquageo, tells BMG. Due to the hostilities, it will not be possible to fully acquire this market at this stage. At present, several trucks are consistently entering the Ukrainian market on a monthly basis. We lost 70% of the planned income in Ukraine during the year. As for Russia, the loss is 30%, Kozalishvili says. According to the businessman, based on the current situation, market diversification is on the agenda of the company. Works are progressing for entering European as well as Chinese and Bahraini markets. The founder of Hotel Costa talked about the lack of workforce as Tamara Baghdavadze said HoReCa sector left its staff alone amid the pandemic and took care of self-preservation. When tourists reopened after the pandemic, workforce shortage was initially observed in the HoReCa sector. Actually, we left them alone as we had to take care of self-preservation during the pandemic. So our staff moved to other sectors. Many of them left Georgia. When this sector recovered, they distrusted us. Maybe they are a little upset that we could not keep them, said Tamara Baghdavadze. The founder of Hotel Costa declared that the sector would have to make great efforts to attract new personnel. We have to invest to gain new staff. HoReCa sector must satisfy their new demands. They must have a sense of security that one fine day we will not tell them that they are left without salaries, Baghdavadze said. Modern Georgia dessert producer company Pelamushito started offering fresh, recently made Georgian dessert Pelamushi to customers. As the founder of the brand, Nino Gogoladze, said the customer could buy the new product at the branches of Scott Juice Bar and gradually it would be presented in different brand chains. According to the founder of Pelamushito, recently made Pelamushi is different from other products of the brand, both in terms of production technology and its taste qualities. Recently made Pelamushi is an innovation with its taste and consistency. Its taste is truly unique. Due to that fact, recently made Pelamushi must have only one flavor. We have decided to create a unique flavor that will satisfy the taste of all types of people. That's why we have created a taste that is a mixture of traditional Karzitelli and Saperavi. As for the production technology, we purchased special equipment for this, which is designed for different hot desserts, and we customized it to our products, said the founder of Pelamushito. Pelamushito offers its customers modernized variations of Georgian dessert. Pelamushi with white chocolate, coffee, caramel, mulled wine and others. Leather handmade accessories producing brand Grosh plans to increase exports as Giorgi Gurgenidze, the founder of Grosh, told BMG. At the moment the brand is using the international sales platform ETCY, and in the future Grosh is considering using Amazon and eBay platforms as well. Our future plan includes increasing exports and entering a larger market. Currently we use the ETCY.com international platform for export. With the knowledge we have gained, we think of using different platforms as well, including Amazon and eBay. We try to constantly offer new things to our customers. Gradually, the brand awareness increases and the production is expanded. At the initial stage, with the help of social networks, we introduced our works to the public, and over time, we added a website and a showroom where it's possible to select the desired material or purchase already made accessories, said Giorgi Gurganidze. Grosh appeared on the market in 2017. In addition to leather bags and wallets, the brand produces bracelets, cards, and other accessories. Grosh uses natural materials in the production of accessories. The startup workshop is located at Alexandre Griboyedo Street. As for the cost of the product, the price of wallets ranges from 75 to 300 gelari, while bags from 180 gelari to 650 gelari. Hamun Archwadze, manager of roasted nut producing company Global Export, says that the company is exporting its products with an investment of 1.5 million gelari and plans to start producing the hazelnut butter. They also needed a small plot of land which is located next to the enterprise for the further development of production. Georgia government handed over the state-owned real estate to Global Export LLC with a direct sale. We are planning to set up a nuts roasting line and start the production of hazelnut butter in the small territory given by the government. In order to increase production, about 1.5 million gelari will be invested within the scope of the co-financing program of agricultural agro-loans. As a result, the volume of produced products will increase by approximately 10% this year and even more next year, says Hamuna Archwadze. Company Global Export produces approximately 8 types of products from 2 million kilograms of raw nuts in Guria Ozurgati within the framework of the state program. The company operates on the market since 2017. Currently, the company employs 130 people. Tel Aviv Airport Mimino is ready to receive flights and awaits the agreement of AK Air Georgia and the state. David Tepnadze, head of Quality Assurance Service of Georgian Aviation University, told BMG. According to Tepnadze, negotiations between AK Air Georgia and the state are held on flight fees and subsidies. The airport is owned by our university and we had a commitment to arrange the airport. We have already fulfilled the aforementioned and we can receive flights today. The airport is certified by the Civil Aviation Agency since February 2022. It has been checked from the safety and technical point of view and meets all the requirements. Negotiations are held between Georgia and AK Air on the flights. As the tender for domestic flights has been announced by the state, the company cannot start flying independently because it will be unprofitable. Mainly, the negotiations are about the flight fees and subsidies because domestic flights are always subsidized by the state, which is necessary for the development of tourism, says David Tepnadze.
We hope to complete this year with a double-digit economic growth indicator, which is very important for us. That was exactly what enabled us to increase the state budget for the following year, Irakli Garibashvili, Prime Minister of Georgia, told the Investors' Council. According to the head of government of Georgia, country also had an increase in foreign direct investments and twice as much was injected into the country in the first 6 months of 2022, in contrast with the previous year, thus amounting 922 million USD, which is a significant reason of optimism for the government as well. Apart from the agenda items discussed at the meeting of the Investors' Council, the Prime Minister shared information with members on the political and economic situation observed in the country. Also, the Prime Minister of Georgia presented a government vision on the new projects, initiatives and priorities planned for the following year.
We just had a really positive meeting of the Investors' Council. As the IMF has said very recently, on the back of Russia's illegal and unprovoked invasion of Ukraine, coming on the back of the COVID crisis, there are a great deal of challenges out there in the global economy. On the back of that, Georgia is still doing very well. Its economy is growing, foreign direct investment is coming in, and that's really positive. But I think the challenges mean that we have to keep focusing on doing the very best we can to ensure that Georgia's economy is as attractive as it can be for foreign direct investment. And that's why the United Kingdom is really proud to support the Investors' Council. It's a fantastic opportunity for direct dialogue between investors and the government, and that's the best thing we can do to ensure that Georgia continues to be an attractive place for investment.
We had a very productive meeting with the Investors' Council today. We discussed a very long agenda of business topics, business-related topics, how to enhance and how to facilitate for businesses working in Georgia, both in terms of domestic investors and in terms of foreign investors. So it was an excellent discussion, and I think we made great progress over time.
With the involvement of experts from the World Bank, the National Bank of Georgia has developed new transparency requirements for financial organizations operating in the country in a bid to ensure transparency of prices of financial products sold in combination and encourage competition in the market, the NBG said on Tuesday. The requirements apply to commercial banks and branches of foreign banks operating in Georgia, as well as microfinance organizations, non-bank depository institutions, credit unions and lending entities, and will enter into force on March 1st, 2023, the NBG said. According to the amendment, when offering financial products to consumers in combination, financial organizations must ensure that the price of each financial product, including in the offer, is transparently indicated and properly disclosed to consumers. In particular, financial organizations must indicate and provide information to the customer about the sales prices assigned to the financial product within the combined offer and the financial product as an independent product, the NBG said. The central bank said the change would enable customers to have the opportunity to compare financial products offered by one or several financial organizations for making informed decisions. More on Weekly Economy News in our next report.
The president of Georgia, Salome Zurabishvili, visited Moldova on Monday to hold top-level meetings with her Moldovan counterpart Maia Sandu and Moldovan Parliament Speaker Igor Grosu. During the conference, Zurabishvili talked about the existing visa regime with the Russian Federation. In her words, she did not exclude that Georgia should revise the conditions of visa regime with Russia, adding that government should make a decision together with this society. The entry of Russian citizens into Georgia is really a challenge. I would not say it's a threat, but it's a challenge. Among the arrivals are former citizens of Georgia who come to Georgia because of the situation in Russia, but there are also Russian citizens who come to Georgia for various reasons. The main thing here is assuring the public that all control mechanisms are used so that the danger does not arise. In this regard, more communication with the society is needed for informing them that all possible threats and issues are actually considered by the authorities and all measures are taken. Moreover, it's not excluded that we will have to review the visa regime, which is quite liberal under current conditions and which may be less acceptable in the conditions of this aggression, said Salome Zurabishvili. In September 2022, the volume of money transfers from abroad constituted $387.2 million USD, which was 84.6% more than the amount in September 2021. 97.5% of total money transfers from abroad came from 23 largest partner countries, with the volume of transfers from these countries each exceeding $1 million USD in September 2022. Top 5 countries by the volume of remittances flows in September 2022 was as follows: Russian Federation, Italy, USA, Greece, Kyrgyzstan. The National Bank of Georgia has published its tourist report for September, according to which the country received $376 million in revenue from foreign visitors last month. This amount is 132% more compared to the previous year. In total, in the first 9 months of the year, Georgia received $2.5 billion from tourists, which is 190% more than in the previous year. Bank also calculates income from tourists in the context of specific countries. In September, Georgia received the largest amount, $96 million from Russian travelers, according to the MBG. EU travelers spent $45 million, Turkish citizens $36 million, Ukraine $32 million, and Israeli citizens $32 million as well. According to National Bank, in September, the Belarusians spent $21 million in Georgia. The 2023 budget, after the shocks caused by the pandemic and the Russia-Ukraine war, should ensure fiscal and monetary stability in the country, lower inflation, inclusive economic growth, and become the basis for sustainable growth. Irakli Kozanadze, chairman of Budget and Finance Committee of the Parliament of Georgia, said at a meeting which discussed the draft state budget for 2023. In Kozanadze's words, next year the government plans to spend $21.2 billion. The salaries of employees in the public sector will increase by 10%, and the salaries of policemen and soldiers are expected to increase by 20%. The pension of pensioners aged 70 and over will increase by 65 GLR to 365 GLR. The pension of the same category of pensioners in the Highland settlements will be equal to almost 440 GLR. The pension of persons under 70 years of age will increase by 35 GLR to 295 GLR, and in the Highland settlements it will be equal to 355 GLR. In this regard, there is an increase in the state budget of 494 million GLR in 2023, which is the largest increase in pensions. As a result, the expenses to be paid in this direction are 3.4 billion GLR, or 60% of the state budget, said the chairman of the committee. The draft state budget for 2023 was discussed and supported at a meeting of Finance and Budget Committee. The Georgian government on Monday discussed the project of building new wind power plants in Western Terjola and Kibuli municipalities, the government administration announced. The estimated installed capacity of the power plant will be 103.5 megawatts, while the estimated annual output rated at 362 million kilowatt-hour, and the project cost at $130 million, the announcement said. The members of the government also discussed draft ordinances of Georgian government on granting the status of an international company to entities, based on which 8 companies will be granted the status of international company. In 9 months of the current year, 2.1 million cubic meters of gas was imported into Georgia. In the corresponding period of the last year, this figure stood at 1.7 billion cubic meters. Accordingly, the annual growth is 24.5%. As for the tax paid for imported gas, the country paid almost $280 million in January-September. In the corresponding period of 2021, this figure was $192 million. The annual increase amounts to $87 million. Investors' Council, led by Georgian Prime Minister Irakli Garibashvili, met on Wednesday in the government administration. Prime Minister Garibashvili hopes to complete this year with a double-digit economic growth indicators, which is very important for us. That was exactly what enabled us to increase the state budget for the following year. The country also had an increase in foreign direct investments and twice as much as how much was injected into the country in the first 6 months of 2022, in contrast with the previous year, thus amounting $922 million, which is a significant reason of optimism as well. The PM stated, apart from the agenda items discussed at the meeting of the Investors' Council, the Prime Minister shared information with members on political and economic situation observed in the country. Also, PM presented a government vision on the new projects initiated and priorities planned for the following year, the government's press office said. Irakli Garibashvili, Prime Minister of Georgia, met Praveer Sinha, Chief Executive Officer of Tata Power, on Thursday. Dignitaries reviewed the large investments carried out and intended in the energy sector of Georgia, along with prospects of future cooperation. The company has invested over $550 million in the construction of cascades at the Shuachevi hydropower plants with a capacity of 187 megawatts. Shuachevi hydropower plant will increase the generation of power energy by almost 5% in the country. It will increase the energy security of Georgia and facilitate the quest towards energy independence. The project is funded by the following three largest financial institutions: European Bank for Reconstruction and Development, Asia Development Bank, and International Financial Corporation of the World Bank Group.
What do diplomats think about the Georgian investment climate? What are the main challenges that investors are facing in Georgia? To answer these and other questions, our analyst Georgi Aronia talked to Swedish and Japanese ambassadors and the regional director of the European Bank for Reconstruction and Development, Katarina Björlin Hansen. Here's an overview of their conversation.
For Georgia and any other country, creating an appropriate investment environment for attracting direct foreign investment is of utmost importance. To do that, however, the country needs to tackle the problems laying before it. Among Georgia's main challenges, the diplomats name high inflation rate and energy security. The ambassador of Japan to Georgia, Akira Imamura, thinks that the main challenge the Japanese investors are facing is the lack of information about Georgia and the opportunities it creates. Interestingly, the trade turnover between Japan and Georgia is on the rise. In 2021, this figure stood at $205.6 million USD, while in the first 9 months of 2022, it increased to $219.6 million USD. PMG talked to the Japanese ambassador about what Japanese investors are interested in the most, which according to him is the energy sector.
Knowledge about the situation, the conditions that is existing right now in Georgia. We see the two-digit growth in the economy and also the growing volume of cargo that goes to between Asia and Europe through the middle corridor that of course Georgia is part of, and of course the necessity for becoming more secure in the energy sector against the background of the war in Ukraine. So this creates a huge opportunity for Japanese business to do their projects in Georgia. So I look forward, and we're organizing a business forum with Japanese business community on 1st of November in Sheraton. So we are hoping that the discussion will lead to further closer contacts and cooperation between our businesses.
The importance of energy and food supply security is underlined by the regional director of the European Bank for Reconstruction and Development, Katarina Björlin Hansen. Yet according to Hansen, inflation is one of the main challenges that Georgia is facing today. It shall be noted that among the international financial institutions, the European Bank for Reconstruction and Development is one of Georgia's strongest supporters. To date, the EBRD has invested 5.2 billion euros in Georgia.
The Georgian economy is facing the challenge of inflation, but it's everywhere in the world. It's not unique for Georgia. Georgia is an open economy, and automatically it will face the same challenges as the countries around us and in the world. So what we need to do today is to work very hard on energy security and also the supply security for food products. So there are a lot of things to be done, but Georgia is well on the track. Georgia has a good framework for investments. There are always room for improvement. That's the case in every single country. We work through the Investors' Council with our partners to try to remedy all sorts of shortcomings where we can make the investment climate better.
Investment climate was a topic of conversation between BMG and the ambassador of Sweden to Georgia, Ulrik Tidestrom. According to the ambassador, many Swedish companies in the Georgian market employ quite a few Georgians. Diplomat's statement echoes the trade turnover between the two countries. In 2021, the turnover amounted to 19.4 million USD, while in the first 9 months of 2022, this figure increased to 23.6 million USD. Along the Sweden-Georgia trade relations, the Swedish ambassador sees growth potential for improving the trade relations between Georgia and the European Union. Last year, the trade turnover between Georgia and the EU amounted to 3 billion USD, but in the first 9 months of 2022, the figure amounts to 2.7 billion USD.
We have quite a number of Swedish companies that are present in Georgia, and together they create jobs and incomes for over 20,000 women and men in Sakartvelo. Some of them are very big, some are small, but all of them are interesting, and they are also very good role models when it comes to responsible business. So I'm very proud of them. I think there is still more potential for more Swedish companies in Georgia, more Georgian companies in Sweden, and definitely potential for more trade. We are not yet trading that much bilaterally, but for us the most important thing when it comes to trade is not necessarily that Georgia exports to Sweden, but that Georgia exports more to the EU as a whole. And this is something that Sweden continues to support, including by assisting Georgian companies to meet the EU standards so that we can, with time, trade much more together.
According to the diplomats, tackling the high inflation rate and ensuring energy and food security are some of Georgia's main challenges. Let's hope that Georgia, its government and the private sector will act effectively and sustainably, which in the end will make our country better.
Praveer Sinha, CEO of Tata Power, visited Georgia to review the large investments carried out and intended in the energy sector of Georgia, along with prospects of future cooperation. Together with the Norwegian Clean Energy Invest AS, Tata Power is an owner of Ajariskali Georgia LLC. It is the largest investor in the energy sector of the country. The company has invested over 550 million USD in the construction of cascades at Shuakhevy hydropower plants with a capacity of 187 megawatts. Shuakhevy HPP will increase the generation of power energy by almost 5% in the country. It will increase the energy security of Georgia and facilitate the quest towards energy independence. Project is funded by the following three largest financial institutions: European Bank for Reconstruction and Development, EBRD, Asian Development Bank, ADB, and International Financial Corporation, IFC, of the World Bank Group. According to the head of government of Georgia, large-scale projects implemented in the energy sector of the country ensure energy independence and security, which will stimulate the economy and create new employment opportunities in Georgia. It's worth noting that over 1,000 individuals were employed in the construction phase of Shuakhevy HPP, out of which majority were local residents, while almost 100 people are currently employed in the operation phase. Tata Group is one of the leading companies of the world, which operates in 100 countries of 6 continents. It employs 935,000 individuals worldwide. Tata Power is one of the largest companies within the Tata Group. The checkpoints will be following up on the meeting in an exclusive interview with Praveer Sinha, CEO of Tata Power. This is all for today. We will meet on Sunday, 11 a.m. sharp. Before that, follow us on BM.G and Forbes.G, and take care.
The Checkpoint is presented by GM Pharma, the first international multinational pharmaceutical company in Georgia. GM Pharma, to serve those who need it most.